All right, this morning I am out on a trail near the house that I typically ride. Usually if I take the bike out for its first good ride to see how it handles and test the suspension. This is where I go. It's a pretty rough, rocky trail, some smooth spots, a little bit of mud. So I'm going to go ahead and take the CRF up. This is the first time this has been out on a decent ride since I've gotten it. And I also have the suspension done. The front fork is done, and so is the rear spring. The 10.5 kilogram for a 235 to 265 pound fully loaded setup. You know, your gear, your weight. And we have the single Race Tech fork spring added to the front. So we're going to hop on here and see how this thing does. So stay along for the ride, and after I'm done, I'll give you my thoughts. Normally I would have the microphone hooked up to the camera, but of course GoPro stuff sucks. And the microphone adapter, as some of you know who watch my channel, the initial video I posted for the CRF, when you wear your earbuds, you can only hear out of your right earbud. So, freaking son. So, we're not using that anymore until we get a new one of those. Anyhow, I'm going to hop on a bike here and let her rip. Make it official, like a ref with a whistle. out. What's the train first? World famous horseshoe curve. Hopefully the camera's at the right angle where you're seeing everything. Let's talk suspension. Okay, I had to wait for the train to go by there. Stock suspension, that trail that I just rode up. Stock suspension, if you're a sit-down rider and you're just trail riding, like you're like, I want to see where this trail goes, I don't care if I putt along at 2 miles an hour, you're going to be fine on stuff like that. It's actually going to be very plush and feel good when you're sitting down. Now, with the Race Tech, the front spring, and that's the front left spring putting it in. And keep in mind, on mine, Race Tech recommends replacing oil in left and right with their recommended oil. I did not do that. I dumped out 100 cc's in the left side that the spring gets installed in and kept the stock oil in the right fork. So that's what I'm running. And that setup, with me riding this trail fast, it is definitely 100% better than stock, but it is very firm, not harsh, but it is definitely just under that harsh area. But it's good for me at my weight. I'm 205, buck naked, so probably 220-ish if I was fully geared up, even with maybe a coat on, but helmet and boots, you know, let's say 220-ish. And it's working good for me. And I'm a stand-up rider also. I stand up a lot, so my legs are taking some of the shock also. But I had no like super like just harsh hits at all. And I was coming across up this trail, there's a lot of rocks, you know, 4 inches, 5 inches high sticking up that, you know, I was hitting and kind of going over, and it was absorbing all that. No bottoming out. As far as the rear spring now, I have, like I said, the 10.5 kilogram Race Tech, or when it comes, it's an Eibach. And I have the preload basically turned the whole way in. There may be a couple spins left, and that also worked well for me. Initially it's plush right off the beginning, but when you're riding hard, you feel the firmness of that shock. And I will say, with no rebound adjustment, when that rear tire leaves the ground, if you leave the ground, that shock, boom, it pushes you feel it push that swing arm away from the bike. You will notice that. But as far as my riding style, this suits me 200% more than the stock suspension. That being said, would I prefer adjustments to fine-tune it? Yes, I would. So it would pay The thing is, if you're a rider that's going to invest in an $800 or a $1,000 rear shock and also do a more intense upgrade with the front forks, you almost might as well get a 450L or move into a Husky or a Gas or a Beta. I just wanted to do this bike already. Even when you leave the dealer, they call it a budget bike, but most of you guys are going to leave the dealer between $700 and $7,500 plus, till you put a few accessories on it to make it fit you good. And then you put, you know, I have, with that suspension, I'll put it in the link below, but I believe I'm pushing $300 to $400 on that setup. So, you know, you're already close to $8,000 on the bike. But this is for a suspension review, and I'm happy with the Race Tech. Now, if I put the Race Tech on and say I was a 150-pound rider, the front, how I have it set up with the oil, the original oil, may be a little harsh. You might be able to use a slightly lighter weight oil and replace it in both forks and help you out a little bit. But for my weight, I'm happy with this. I'm going to keep this on the bike, ride it, you know, till it's gone, till we get rid of the bike. So if you have any questions on that, be sure to like, subscribe, get on your Honda, and get outside.